we go. All right, so good evening, everybody. My name is Amy Pernick. I'm the Director of Admissions here at Gesher, and I am so delighted to have been invited by Alana to participate in this this virtual parlor meeting. It's actually my very first parlor meeting. And we're joined this evening by two of my colleagues. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Jody, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jody Hirschreen. I'm the principal at Gesher, and I am also the proud mom of two boys, a fifth grader and a third grader. So I speak both from the ed side and the parent side at Gesher. And I grew up in Northern Virginia. I moved back 7 years ago, and I am super excited to talk about Gesher tonight.
Then Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen Schur. I'm the Director of Community Advancement. I have been at Gesher professionally for 6 years, but a mom at Gesher for 7. And so I've been through the whole elementary school experience, getting ready now for the middle school experience, which I'm very excited about. I work with Amy, and I'm really focused on the outward facing components of Gesher. So whether it's admissions or development, community building. So I'm excited to be here with you tonight.
Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then let me go ahead and maximize this. All right, fantastic. So again, I just want to thank everybody for being here. This is going to be really informal. Please, whenever you have a question, just unmute yourself or, virtually raise your hand. We can just, stop and keep going. But we want to make sure that this is an informative and valuable session for you. So I want to start this evening by turning it over to Alana Rothberg, our host for this evening, who wants to share a little bit about what brought her to Gesher and what her experience has been so far.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, Lindsay and Tara. Nice to meet you. I'll tell you a little bit about our story on how we came to Gesher and what we have really enjoyed about the school and the community. So I have twins, boy-girl twins in first grade. And we came to Gesher after preschool. My kids went to Agudasakim preschool, and they have a late September birthday. And so we weren't quite ready to send them off to kindergarten. And it happened to be the same year that Gesher launched the Gan Katan Junior Kindergarten program. So I only see myself, but that's okay. It happened to be the same year that they launched the junior kindergarten program, and it was perfect timing because it was a great time for us to have that extra year before kindergarten. And my husband and I decided, okay, let's give it a try, and we'll stay for 2 years, and then we'll see. There we are. Okay, there everyone is. Thanks, Jody. And then we'll see how it goes, and we'll make a decision about long-term after that. And so we were at Gesher for Gan Katan. We stayed for kindergarten, and last year it was kind of like we looked at it as our decision year. Like, are we going to do public school? Because we live in Arlington. People move to our neighborhood for the public schools, or are we going to stay at Gesher? And here we are in first grade. We chose to stay at Gesher. And the reason why, this was even before all the pandemic hit, but the reason why we love Gesher so much is our kids are happy, they're learning, the class sizes are like just right. They're not too small in that there's not enough kids, but there's enough kids for everybody to be friends together, but then everybody has their own like cluster of friends too. And the teachers really customize the learning environment to meet the kids where they are, no matter where they are. So, one child might be really strong in math, one child might be really strong in reading, and the teachers are really able to personalize the curriculum and the learning environment so that each child is really excelling in the place, where their strengths, and excelling in where they're coming up to speed and where they need to come up to speed too. So it's a really fun learning environment and a really great learning environment. We live in Arlington, as I said. It's not close to Gesher at all. It's about 30 minutes away without traffic. And the first year I was driving them back and forth, which had its pros and cons. The pro was I was able to be at Gesher a lot. I saw the faculty, I saw the teachers, they kind of got to know me. They got to know, just our family, but it wasn't really sustainable for our family. And so we decided to give transportation a try in the buses. And it's a lifesaver having the buses, and it's been great. I was a little nervous about putting the kids on the bus because they were so young and they were going so far. But to be honest with you, I've spoken with some of my friends who send their kids to public school, and my kids spend like 40 minutes on the bus to Gesher, and friends who have kids in public schools spend 40 to 60 minutes on the bus too, because they're going from bus stop to bus stop. So this is just, some things that we've thought about as like, it's a no-brainer, and the kids have fun on the bus. They sit with near, not next to, but close by some of their peers, and they just have a great time. So we've been really happy. The community has been amazing. My kids have made so many great friends, and us as a family, we've made a lot of really great friends there too. So we're here, we're in it for the long haul, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has that related to Gesher or anything else related to the school.
Thank you so much, Alana. Go ahead and take you off Spotlight. And as I said, if you have any questions as we go through the evening, please don't hesitate to just jump right in. But we're going to go ahead and start sort of the formal part of the program. And Jen Scher is going to talk about the why. Why Gesher? Why do we do what we do, and why should families choose to entrust their children to our school? So take it away, Jen.
Sure. So hi. Everyone, I always say, comes to the table with sort of their own unique why. My husband and I were both products of public school, and it wasn't necessarily natural that we were going to pick Gesher as well. And I was a parent at Gesher before I was a professional. We find it completely amazing, the community aspect, the way that the family gets connected to the school, that it's not just a place just for you to drop your kid. It's not just a place where your kid is there during the day and you feel disconnected from it, whether you're using transportation or you're doing the carpool line. It's really quite incredible how everyone is able to really feel connected. The beauty of our community is really that we're raising joyful Jewish learners who are so comfortable with who they are, and they go out into the world and they're just so excited to celebrate their identity and to share that with others. And when they go out, whatever high schools they go to, colleges, we're in our 38th year, and we can really look back. We have parents now, alumni parents who have their children at Gesher, which is super exciting. It took us a long time now to get to that point, but they're all grown up now, our alumni, and one is in our current first grade, actually. And so it's very special to see that sort of continuity now coming from the community, and to really be able to see that, we raise these children in this very intimate environment. By the time they graduate 8th grade together, they feel like siblings, like they've really been raised together in a beautiful and amazing way. And they grow up to be these dynamic leaders who are just so proud of who they are and where they come from. And they're completely armed and ready to go out into the world to celebrate diversity and to be a part of the global society. Just a little bit about Gesher. We were founded in 1982. So we're in our 38th year. Our enrollment this year is 141 students. We go junior kindergarten through 8th grade. You know, do what you know and do it well. So we are really proud to have that elementary school age. You know, there is a critical arc of development that happens with children, and if we can capture it early, then they're anchored in who they are, and that makes that experience happening early on when they're moldable and they are open and excited to learn. That's when then they can go out into the world after Gesher and be really, really prepared. We are a non-denominational community school, and what that means, we are a pluralistic community. We welcome Jews of all backgrounds. I always love to look at my daughter's kindergarten class. Jody was also a parent in that class. We had the children of a conservative rabbi or a former rabbi, a Chabad rabbi, half intermarried class, and Israelis. Like, it was like just such an eclectic mix, okay? And the class has remained so incredibly strong. They're in 5th grade now, they're a beautiful group. But it's really incredible how, you know, it's nobody's planting their flag of what is our identity and what does it mean to be a Jew. Everybody comes to the table with who they are naturally. Our campus is a 28-acre wooded campus, and it's like the best mix of school and camp, especially now during COVID when we're using so much of our outdoor space. Alana spoke a lot about bus transportation. We'll touch a little bit more on that later. Our mission and values. So what's really cool here is that you have actually 2 examples of how we learn. So on the one hand, you're going to see, you know, our mission is to be passionate about learning, practice justice, kindness, and respect, and aspire to a life guided by Jewish values, Torah, and community. What you'll see in the bottom there is a little B. Be safe, be respectful, be responsible. Those are the community expectations in the elementary school. Then we mature those same expectations and we shift them, and what you see is what hangs in the middle school. Gesher community expectations broken out into the word team. Treat each other with respect, engage in productive discourse, assume best intentions, and make the classroom a safe learning environment. We hope that our kids are really growing together in a way that not only are they learning just the tools and academics, but they're learning the critical thinking and community building skills that come with conflict resolution and all of those things. And we understand that conflict happens in life and that we want to teach the kids what that means and how to do that respectfully. I'm going to hand it over to Jody.
Thanks, Jen. Actually, you and Alana have said so much already. I feel like there's a lot less for me to say right now. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the learning and about the academics. And I think everyone has sort of framed the biggest piece of how we enter a classroom is with community. So we enter each day with a morning meeting and with tefillah, with our morning prayer, really as a way to anchor the group before we actually get into the heavy academics of the day. And then Alana already touched on the fact that we really strive to meet every child where they are. And we do a lot of learning through integrating our subjects. So while we have a formal general studies curriculum, probably very similar to what you might, well, I would have said what you might see in the public schools, although I don't know what's going on anymore today, but what you would typically, what you typically think of as what you remember from school. So we have our social studies and our English and our math and our reading, and we do a lot of differentiating within those subjects. And then we do a lot of integration also with Judaic studies. We have a formal general studies teacher and Judaic studies teacher in every single grade. But we really do a lot of thinking about how the student learns and what they need. So you might see something like, if they're learning about Greek mythology and Greece, ancient Greece, they might also be using it in their literature and pairing it with their reading. And then they might also be learning about what was Jewish life like in ancient Greece. And so there's a lot of thought about just what does life look like? And then we might actually even do a lot of, coming out of Greece, for instance, actually think about that one. There's a lot of STEM and science, actually, if you think about it. So we do a lot of thinking about how learning is holistic. That was just an example from 3rd grade, and how we really think about it across both general studies, but also what does that mean for us as Jews? And then we also have a formal Hebrew time every single day. Our students learn a second language, and second language learning in Hebrew is one of the strongest ways also to develop kids' brains and really, I would actually say really challenge them. Amy, you're flipping those slides. I'm talking about all of it. Oh, it's okay. And so the kids learn both languages at the same time, depending on when kids enter. Sometimes they enter in kindergarten or junior kindergarten, have had Hebrew all the way through, and other times they enter a little bit older, and we have ways to really differentiate and enter kids and meet them where they are. And there's a lot of small group learning at Gesher. We do a lot of thinking about how to group kids both. Sometimes we do it in small groups so that we can do small mini lessons and really meet academic needs high and low. And sometimes we do a lot of differentiated groupings because we really, and there's Alana's daughter holding up that Hebrew. But we really feel like it's very important also that kids learn from each other and learn from their peers. I would actually say peer-to-peer learning is a really, really strong point at Gesher, and it's something we value deeply. I would actually tell you that my fifth grader today after school had to spend some time getting on Google Hangout because he needed to finish teaching something to his friend, and he felt very passionate about the fact that he was helping someone. And so there's a lot of that kind of peer-to-peer learning. And even in COVID, we've gotten extremely creative in the ways that we have continued to have social learning happen at school. So the kids are spread out in their desks. Normally we have desks in pods, so the desks are all spread out across the classroom. And so to make up for that, the kids do a lot of movement around the classroom. Actually, in the picture right there, you'll see beach chairs. The reason the kids have beach chairs is to both sit outside under our tents. We use our, except for this week, it got a little chilly, but up until about this week, we've been outside for a lot of learning using beach chairs and really using our outdoor campus and our indoor campus effectively. And then they're also using those beach chairs sometimes as ways to spread out and make small groups in creative areas. So you might see them using their beach chairs to make a spread out circle in the classroom, or quite frankly, in the hallway. You might put 3 or 4 kids in a group in the hallway to do some work together in a spread out way. So we really value that social aspect of learning. It's why we pushed, quite frankly, so hard to open during a pandemic, and why we do it carefully, but it's sort of that creative side of Gesher. The kids help us be creative about how we can social distance and learn, and the teachers are really creative about it. And quite frankly, our campus was probably the best blessing in disguise in making it all happen over the course of this year. I'm going to just pause before I hand it back to Jen. Jen's going to talk a little bit about our community and our traditions, and to see if there's any questions specifically about the academics. Okay, Jen, I'm going to hand it back to you to talk a little bit about traditions.
So, my favorite thing is, the celebration and joy of our campus and the traditions at Gesher that really anchor us. So we have multiple traditions, and we really make an intentional point of making sure that like all of our parents and families and kids really know like what traditions to get excited about. Everything from getting caught wearing purple on Fridays, where our PTO hands out tzedakah, or kids come with tzedakah and they put it in. It's a big deal. It used to be actually inside the building, and during COVID, like even the PTO volunteers don't come in the building, so we moved it outside. Well, there's some traditions that are new, but that are going to stick, because it turns out the parents in the carpool line are like, we never got to see Get Caught Wearing Purple before, and now we get to see it every week, and we love it. And we're like, okay, I guess it's staying outside. There's some things we learned from COVID that are going to stay. The same with our Gan Shehechianu ceremony. So on the first day of kindergarten, the parents bring a talis and the children stand under, and we say a beautiful Shehechianu blessing. And then what's amazing is in 8th grade, when we send our 8th graders off to Israel, that's the second time you will get to do the Shehechianu blessing and have the children under the talis. It's very beautiful, and I promise not a dry eye in the house. Everything we also do parent Noshes, which we sort of modified this year. You'll see in the picture it's outdoors. We really try to keep the parents connected. We had coffee and schmooze time. It's not about being structured, it's just about having conversation and connection. Things like you see the apples and honey that gets passed out at Rosh Hashanah. We're getting ready for Hanukkah, big hoopla. So we are, passing out sufganiyot will be coming next week for all the kids, and we have Gelt, and we have a lot of just beautiful holiday traditions, so that really everything is an experience. We always talk about how can carpool be an experience? Yes, it turns out that it can. That it can really be an opportunity to connect with others. Our Kabbalat Shabbat, which we used to all gather together, in person, all of the classes, but because we've potted everybody together and we're really for health and safety, keeping everyone in their groups, we're still doing all school Kabbalat traditions, but we've moved them onto Zoom. So each grade is then on Zoom together. But what's been really nice is that parents and grandparents are now opting in to our Kabbalat Shabbat programming and feeling a part of the school in even ways that before they weren't. Though many, even when we're in session and there's no COVID rules, parents are always invited to our Kabbalat Shabbat on Fridays. It's sort of like, just come every Friday, have a great time. It's really beautiful. We have things like Israeli dancing is the other thing. You see the kids sort of shaking it there on the basketball court. We have Israeli dance, we have sports, we have all kinds of things that we have modified appropriately during COVID, but that were also a lot of things that we're very excited will eventually return as well.
Jen, I'm going to add one quick addition to our traditions, but we are really proud also of our students and the way they take leadership roles in the school, and especially our middle schoolers. We have a student council that is comprised of our middle school, but also some elementary school students as well. And they often, I would actually say, they bring the spirit into the school. So they bring the food drives and the fun pajama days and the hot chocolate that after COVID will show up back in the classroom sometimes, and the reading under your desks kind of days and the Disney days. So all those sort of fun, what we like to say, the campsides of school is really what our student council tries to bring. And I would actually say that it's very heavily kid driven and kid initiative. And often the days change and the traditions may change with student council because the kids themselves drive the bus. So I wanted to just, that's sort of a highlight from our middle school, but that and hopefully when COVID returns, we'll be able to bring back our field trips, both in elementary school and in middle school, and our signature field trip in 8th grade as well, the Israel trip. So yeah. Jen, I'm gonna hand it back to you.
So we are always prepared. The first question new parents asked us this year was, what if you go on remote? What is the game plan? We were beautifully able to transition to online learning as was needed last spring. We were up and running in 3 days, which was incredible. We have sort of coined the term from brick to click, meaning that we will do what we need to do, whether our learning continues, whether we're in our brick and mortar building or we're clicking online. Our plan is we are open so long as the state of Virginia allows us to be open. We are here and we're committed to it. We are committed to health and safety, but we also know that if a student, for example, maybe one student or one family needs to isolate, we've been able to accommodate and get them doing learning, both synchronous and asynchronous learning. That means like learning at the same time as students and also separate learning and making sure that they have all assignments and everything continuously in our brick to click model. If you have any questions about it, myself or Jody have both been not just on the professional side, but on the parent side of that. Alana can tell you from the little kid side. I can tell you what it looks like a little bit on the bigger kid side, but it's been pretty remarkable, the success of our brick to click experience.
All right, thank you so much, Jen. Since I know a number of you are located a little bit further away from the school, like Alana, I did just want to go into a little bit more detail about our bus transportation program. This year, we have enlisted the services of VA Rides, which is a professional transportation company. They've got big yellow school buses, and we've really stepped up our game with transportation. We have made sure that all COVID safety protocols are able to be followed, including staggering student seating so that there is nobody directly in front, behind, or across from any other student unless they are in the same household. So like Alana's twins sit together. We have 3 students in the same family that share a row, but everybody else is, staggered in a zigzag pattern. We currently have 3 bus routes, one that goes sort of east and north to Alexandria and Arlington. Currently, we have stops at Agudas Hakim, Bethel, and Etayim. We have sort of a central Fairfax towards Falls Church route that serves Vienna, Temple Road F. Shalom in Falls Church, and the Poses JCC in Fairfax. And then we have our green route, which goes north and west, or west and north, I guess, is sort of the direction. And we currently have stops in Sterling and Herndon. The point I want to make is that we are very open to adding bus stops, as is our transportation vendor. VA Rides is more than happy to work with us to add additional stops. Currently, what we are looking at, a couple of the stops we're looking at is Adat Raim in Springfield and potentially Beth Emeth in Reston. But we will entertain just about any location as long as there is interest from 4 or more students is what we typically say. In order to open a new bus stop, we would look for 4 or more students. Any questions about transportation? Either as a parent or logistically. Okay. So the rest of the presentation, I'm really just going to get into the admissions process. So does anybody have any sort of programmatic questions before I get into that? Quiet group, everybody's
I'll jump in.
Okay, please do.
So thank you everyone so much. This is really helpful. And yeah, it's great. So I guess, one of my questions is not really programmatic, I guess, but, like for the parents, one of the concerns that we had was, I mean, certainly the distance from the school and the transportation, and you covered that, Alana, and talked about your experience, but we're also wondering like about people's experience with, this doesn't really have to do with the school, but like, the fact that, like, for example, we live in a community where like, it's a pretty tight-knit, family-oriented community, and all the kids on our block are going to be going to the public school pretty much, I'm sure. So, we're sort of just concerned about our kids being left out and how that might work in a like neighborhood setting. I don't know if anyone has any experience.
Tara, where are you exactly? Just to give me
we're like we're in what's called Rosemont in Alexandria. It's like near Delray.
Okay, so I'm up the street.
And actually, Tara, since you jumped in, do you want to actually give a little bit of information, like who is your child? What grade are you looking at? Sorry, I didn't do introductions for the parents.
We're just listening.
Okay. Just curious. No, our son Zev will be starting kindergarten in the fall, and then we have a younger boy too. Yeah.
I'm off Crestwood. I'm over by Agudas. There are 22 kids on the Crestwood block in my neighborhood, and a lot of them are my children's age, and the boys all run around together, and I was really worried, especially because he went to the Agudas preschool, and I thought they were all for sure. My younger one had classmates go with him. My older one did not. And I was sort of worried about the social aspect. The truth is they all play together still. Some have moved away, unfortunately. Some have been stationed away. But the ones that are here, they're still playing together. He still has a preschool buddy since 5th grade. He still has a preschool buddy he plays with up the street. He's not really left out. They're not all in the same classes. One chose to go to ACDS, one's not Jewish, went to St. Agnes, St. Stephen's. Like they all sort of separated. They all do different after school activities, but on Saturdays and Sundays, they run around the neighborhood, and it has not actually been a social issue. So I wanted to say that because it was a concern of mine. I've thought about it a lot in terms of like, what am I going to do for high school? I don't know why that seems to be a question, but it does. And I think about it a lot, but I think it's the way we integrate with the families when, if you take a walk around the neighborhood and you still make sure you schedule play dates and see people on the weekends, and after school the kids get off the bus at Agudas around 4:30, 4:45. There's still time to see the kids in the neighborhood, especially on a Friday afternoon. Also, they get home a little bit earlier in the winter. So I thought I would say that because there was a lot of boys all the same age, and I was like, oh, he's for sure on the outs, but not really.
Thank you. Yeah.
We also, I'll chime in too. We also do, but pre-COVID, we've done extracurricular activities in Arlington. And so my daughter, she did dance, my son did baseball and soccer, and those are all with like Arlington kids. And so it's been a nice way to, even though they're not in school together, they still have formed friendships. And similar to Jody, we have friends in the neighborhood, and we did less now, but schedule play dates with them, or just walking around the neighborhood. I'll text their parents and say, we're walking by your house. So we have found that it's not really an issue, even though, and we've also found that a lot of kids in our neighborhood go to other private schools too. So their parents have kind of made the same decision as we have. And on the weekends, they play, and during the week, they have their own little spaces in their own schools. So it hasn't really been that much of an issue so far.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Lindsay, Dina, I know you were a little bit late to join us. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves and your kids?
Sure, I can go first. My daughter, Nadia, which many of you saw earlier, she is in kindergarten now. Our plan was to send her to the local public school, but her preschool actually started a kindergarten class so they could be in person, and she's just had an awesome year. So it's kind of made us, reconsider everything, like everything in our lives, basically, we've thought about, and thinking about pursuing something different going forward. So she'd be going into first grade in the fall. And I do live in Arlington. So the question that Tara asked was one that had certainly crossed my mind about the social part. Even though like on our street, all the kids who have gone to different preschools, they still all play together, or they did pre-COVID, and now they play masked outside after school. So I can see where you would get plenty of social interaction on the weekends and afternoons and things.
Lindsay, where in Arlington are you?
I am about half a mile north of the courthouse metro.
Okay,
So,
I'm in Lion Village, right near Clarendon.
Oh, I am 2 blocks north of the Lion Village Park.
Okay, great.
Just across the highway.
Okay, I'm on the other side. Cool.
And Dina, I think your hand is up too. Maybe. I thought your hand was up. Maybe not.
Dina's also in Arlington. She lives in Virginia Square.
Hi, sorry.
Okay.
My husband and I are handing off the headset and wandering our apartment trying to not wake up children.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No. You're fine. You're fine. Sorry. Don't think I'm a crazy person. So I'm sorry. You asking where we live? We live a block from the Virginia Square Metro, like right across the street from Quincy Park in Arlington.
And you have a daughter, correct?
Correct. Yeah, she's 5. So
Okay.
would be a potential, kindergarten candidate for next year.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you joined a little bit late, but we've got the whole program recorded, so we'll be able to send that out to you.
Oh, awesome.
After.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to reshare my screen and go finish up the night by talking about admission, my favorite topic. Imagine that. So pat yourselves on the back. You have gone ahead and checked off the first thing on your to-do list by being here tonight. So thank you again for being here. I hope that you had the opportunity to learn a lot. I know we threw a lot of information at you. So as you sort of sit back and marinate on everything that we talked about tonight, I'm sure that you'll have more questions. I plan on reaching out to everybody personally with phone calls or emails in the coming days, just to check in and see what questions you have. But the next step is to go ahead and apply online. Our best consideration deadline is approaching. We ask families to please submit their applications and materials by December 31st for best consideration for the upcoming school year. For families that do submit their materials by December 31st, we are able to get you an answer by March 1st. So during the month of January and February, we will be scheduling virtual visits with our faculty and members of our leadership team. We typically like to do a student virtual visit with their teaching team so that they can meet their prospective teacher and the teacher can get to know the child. It's really informal. It's just, chit-chatting, and oftentimes the teachers, specifically with the younger kids, will say, bring a favorite toy that you want to tell me about, or what's your favorite book? Do you know any of the words on the page? And if they don't, that's totally fine. Again, we're just trying to engage them in conversation. And then we do also like to have a family meeting, either with Jody or with our head of school, Aviva Walls, who apologizes she couldn't be here this evening. But we love to have the opportunity to sit down with every family and just get to know you a little bit, and make sure that all of your questions are answered, because this is a huge decision. It's it's not only a decision for your children, but for your entire family. We recognize that. Once those visits have taken place, as I said, for families that apply by December 31st, we will send offers of admission in on or around March 1st. And then you just submit your enrollment application and you're in. So we plan to have several events between enrollment and the start of school so that students will have the opportunity to start getting to know each other. As it is safe and per sort of the COVID climate, we'll try to schedule some outdoor things, some socially distanced outdoor things, so that families can come to campus. We'll do some tours of our building and our campus on days where we're not in session, so that you'll have a chance to see the spaces where your children will be learning. And we'll just do lots of fun stuff to help get them excited about coming here in the fall. So any questions about the admissions process? Okay. And affording a Gesher education. So our new rates just went live today. So if anybody has attended any of the other open houses or information sessions, these numbers are new. So our K to 8th grade tuition for the upcoming school year is $23,700. And the fees are the same as they were in previous years. There's an annual $900 per family fee for capital repairs and replacements, helping us keep our beautiful 28-acre campus as beautiful as it is. And then our PTO dues are $54 for the first child, and if you have subsequent children, $18 for an additional child. I also want to highlight the fact that we are very proud to be able to offer need-based tuition assistance to any family that wants to avail themselves of a Gesher education and may find the financial piece to be a difficulty. So we use a third-party system called FACS, tuition management, or FACS grant and aid, to calculate what a family's ability to pay is. And then our anonymous committee, our anonymous financial aid committee, gets all of the raw data that comes from FACS and We will take any personal narratives or statements that you give and scrub all of the identifying information. And then they will calculate awards based on the demonstrated documented need. So we are very committed to making sure that a Gesher education is accessible to any family that wants to be here. We do also offer bus transportation for an additional fee, as we mentioned. We have both one-way and round-trip rates. And then before and after care is something that we have done in subsequent years. It is something that we had to discontinue temporarily during COVID because there is no safe way to keep all of our different pods separated in an aftercare setting, because naturally we sort of pool the children together. It is our hope that as vaccines come out and start being distributed, and hopefully restrictions start to be loosened or lifted, that we would be able to resume before and after school care as well. And those hours are 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Am I double checking, Jody and Jen? Am I correct?
7:30. It's
Thank you.
7:30 a.m.
7:30.
Sorry.
I knew
until
I was,
6 p.m.
nope, I was like, I'm missing something. 7:30 until 6 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Y'all, I just came from the dentist. I'm sorry. I'm struggling a little bit. All right. And that is everything I have. So with that, are there any other questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen again. And, you know, everybody, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, coming back to school was probably the best thing that could have happened for my social and emotional health, and just being able to see adults and children, but adults every day. So, you know, if you guys just want to chit chat for a few minutes, I'm happy to keep this link open, but I will go ahead and stop recording. I can do that.